Hey, and welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks always making your way here. Check out the series. Of course, you know what to do if you like what you see, what you hear. Hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover those new ones. You can do so any of the usual places in podcast land, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can grab us at NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course, right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, I cannot believe my lucky stars. I get to talk with Dolly Parton. She has actually got 2 new projects. There is an album called Rockstar, billed as her very first rock album, music of rock music. This comes really because she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she sort of famously now said, I can't do that. I've never had a rock album. And so instead of not being in the Hall of Fame, she said, well, hang on a second, let me just make one. And it's 30 tracks. I think you'd call that a triple album sometimes. And most of it's covers, where she teams up with the greatest artists of all time. There are Beatles on here. There's Hearts. Just everybody. It's everybody's on here. We're going to talk about the record. We're going to talk about how she came up with the songs, sort of a tribute to her husband. A lot of these are her husband's favorite songs. So we'll get to that. We'll hear about some of the tracks, especially there's a handful of originals on here. World on Fire was the first single. I want to hear about how it kind of reflects what's happening out in the world at the moment. And another one of the originals, she's actually re-recorded it a few times. It's an older song, but this time she duets with Simon Le Bon of Duran. So we're going to talk about that as well. Now, the other project she has is a book called Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones. This is the second of I guess, a trilogy of books that sort of tells her life story. This time, the first one was through her lyrics. This one is through the costumes and wigs that she's worn throughout the years. So we're going to hear about that, how she sort of modeled her early look on a woman from her hometown. So anyway, it's all that and more. I'm so excited to do this interview and so excited to meet her. We're talking Rockstar and her new book, Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones. It's Kyle Meredith with Dolly Parton.
Hey there.
What an incredible year. New album Rockstar that I loved hearing so much. New book, Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones. The induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I guess I should just start easily by saying congratulations.
Well, thank you. I feel very proud and honored. I got a lot going on, but you know me, I always do.
I was thinking about this album, especially I feel like you've had some pretty great rock and roll moments in your past. Songs like Something's Burning, Lay Your Hands on Me, those come to mind. What did you want this album to sort of tell in that lens, as your favorite rock music or you as a rock star?
Well, actually, I'm sure you would know that I was inspired by the fact that I got put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I had felt I had not done enough to deserve that. So I thought, well, if I'm going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you got to say at least Dolly had a rock album, not just a song here and there and an album here and there. So that's what encouraged me to go ahead and do it. I'd often wanted to do a rock album, kept thinking, well, I will someday, but I'd kind of let that slide, going on to other things. And then when I got in the Hall of Fame, I thought, well, I'm going to do this. So I chose songs, a lot of the songs that I loved. Some I wrote, but most of it was inspired by my husband, who loves rock music. And that's all he's ever played, the 60 years we've been together. And so he just plays that, blasts it all the time. So I knew what I wanted to do some stuff to please him, do some of the things that I knew he would love for me to do. And then, so I just took off and thought, well, I'm going to do all these classic songs, see if I can get some of these classic artists to sing on them with me.
And tying this to your book as well, again, Behind the Seams, My Life in Rhinestones, which is such a fun read, not just the pictures, but some of the stories behind it, and hearing about how you had to fight for your image and your sound right from the beginning. The way you talk about modeling after what you call the town tramp, What advantage did that give you? Because I feel like that sort of took the power away from some people of being able to say that.
Well, you know how they say in your most impressionable years, but when I was very, very young, I often tell this story, and it's the truth, that I really, when we would get a chance to go to town, just in that country little place back there, especially back then, there was this woman they called the town tramp, and I just thought she was the prettiest thing I had ever looked at, because she had all the big piled up yellow hair, red nails, red lipstick, and eyelashes, and high heels, and short skirts, and man, I mean, that made an impression on me. And so people said, oh, she's just trash. And in my mind, I just thought that was a word for how she looked. And so in my mind, I thought, well, that's what I'm going to be when I grow up, is trash. So in my mind, I just kept, when I started getting a chance to wear what I wanted to, even if I had to fight my grandpa Jake, who was a preacher, and my mama and my daddy was afraid I was, going to hell in a handbasket. So I would just still wear it. I would take a whipping in order to get to look like I wanted to look. And so I just claimed myself and claimed my look early on, and I just stuck with it.
And eventually you got to call the shots on all of that.
Well, yeah, I did. Certainly after I got grown, but I was not a loose girl. I actually, a lot of the parents in high school, they didn't want their daughters running around with me because they thought that that I was a bad influence. I wasn't doing anything, and their beautiful little daughters were the ones going around sleeping with people, not me. So there's a lot to be said about by the company you keep, but sometimes they can be wrong in what you're wearing. So to me, I got a reputation that I did not earn in that respect, but I didn't want to look trashy. I just wasn't living trashy.
Sure. Well, getting back to the music on here too, I was kind of looking at your back catalog, and you put out a record in 1996 called Treasures, which also found you doing some original songs, covering some songs as well. I don't even know if you even thought of that as a template for this record, because I like how they speak to each other, especially you cover Peace Train, Cat Stevens. And on this new album, you have World on Fire, which, of course, is one of your originals and is a hell of a great song, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, thank you very much. I'm proud of it, too.
Thinking in that lens again with a song like Peace Train, World on Fire, I tend to think of you as one of the great peacekeepers of humanity. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to be sainted one day. I think we're all in agreement on that.
Oh, don't do that. I'm no angel. As I say, I just play one on TV, and I'm no saint.
But with a song like this, I mean, what did you want to say? Because I think there's obviously there's an important message on World on Fire.
Yes, I wanted to say that. I wanted to say there's a message here. I wanted to say, we need to be taking a look at what we're doing, what we've become. Where do we go from here? Do we just let it all, go up in smoke? We got a chance to do great things. We can be great people. Why are we just being so stubborn as to just let our egos, rule the roost instead of trying to be human and good and kind? And, that's what the song was about, like looking around and look at what you're doing all over the world, not certainly here. We've certainly got plenty of problems now, but it's the same all over. And we're the only ones that can do anything about it. And the only way I know how to do it, because I wouldn't dream of getting in politics, but because they're not going to do anything about it. But anyway, is for me to write about it and try to touch the hearts of the like-minded people and like-hearted people that might be able to do something a little extra, to write and to sing or to reach out and do enough to think, yeah, we better stop. We better stop. In that one line in that song, which, where I talked about the crooked politicians, present and past, wouldn't know the truth if it bit them, where. So in my mind, I was also saying, leaders of the world, present and past, you better make a change, and you better do it fast. So it's like one of those things that I just felt like I needed to say something, because it troubles me. My heart is heavy, as I'm sure it is to a lot of people. But the thing is, we can do better, and we need to. We can rise above. We can make a change.
I certainly appreciate it, and I certainly hope that people hear it. And it's a great song on top of that. And I could say the same about Bygones and Bittersweet. And then we also get My Blue Tears on here, which which this is a song that must mean something to you because it's not the first time you've recorded it. What is it about this one?
Well, first of all, my husband, it's one of the only songs of mine that my husband's ever commented on. And so, but the first time that song was recorded, I wrote it when I was a girl. Now that I'm a boy, I'm still singing it. No, I wrote it when I was a young girl, was what I meant. And the first time it was ever recorded was with Goldie Hawn. When she was on Laugh-In years ago, she did an album, and she sang that song. And then I did it with Linda and Emmy. I recorded it years ago. But I just loved the song, and I thought, well, I'll add a new dimension to it. And I wanted to add that big part, at the end, the big orchestrated part. And then I had Simon Le Bon to sing on it with me. And so I just loved it. I just loved that song.
And Simon sounds good on it, too. Of course, he usually does.
He's great. He's got a good voice.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed you were naming off all songs I'd written. Thank you.
Well, those are great songs, and I do. I love hearing. Of course, I love hearing the covers too. I mean, Stairway on there. I know you asked Plant and Page to get back. I mean, we were all. If there's anybody that could reunite Led Zeppelin, that would be you. So.
Yeah, I tried. I got Ringo and Paul. At least I'm proud about that. But yeah, I didn't get them. But I liked them. But I did ask them. Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next time, yeah.
Well, I'll close with this too, because again, hitting back to the book, you talk about the pokeberries and flour and those humble beginnings that you come from. And now you're on the opposite side of that. Does that still stick with you, those humble beginnings, even with all the success?
That still matters to me more than all this success. I never got over that, nor do I ever hope to, because it is my humble beginnings, that has made me what I am today. I think that's why people relate to me, because they know I'm a homegirl. I'm a person that respects and appreciates, my family and my home and the way that I grew up. I never, as they say, I never got above my raisins and never wanted to and never will. I'm just glad that I've had a chance to, to, as I've often said, it's a long way from the hills of the Smoky Mountains, to the top of the world. But I'm just as proud when I go back home as I am at the top of this, and I get restored when I go home to continue doing this kind of stuff.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on everything again. Such an honor to meet you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.